So, what we're trying to do now is branch outwards. We're trying to move from the world of the text to a big, broad idea about humanity in general. Because what you'll see when we think about themes, we're trying to connect Judson Webb's character to big themes like this. And what you will often see when students talk about themes in literary text, they will say, this is a text about greed. This is a text about revenge. But what we're trying to get out of you as students is an interpretation of the writer's argument about this theme. So what is this writer telling us about greed? Are they saying that it's a good thing? Are they saying that it's a bad thing, first of all? I think we can tell from looking at this statement that this story is going to be warning us in some way about greed. But it also is going to be warning us about the way that the world at large operates. And so when you're thinking about themes, you're trying to think in this way. You're trying to go from the concrete and the specific example in the text, Judson Webb's character, to make an abstract point or a general point about all of humanity that the text seems to be arguing. So the text is making an argument about all people in general, or these concepts. It's telling us something specific about these abstract concepts that can apply to all people. Everyone in their life experiences revenge, and everyone has a desire for justice. Everyone at times experiences greed, and we are together all of humanity. So we're looking to go from a specific example of something in the text to an abstract concept that affects the entire world and that affects humanity. And that we're not just talking about the concept, we're trying to interpret what this writer in this text seems to be arguing about one of these abstract concepts that we call themes. So let's take a look at this statement. Judson Webb is evidently successful in the world of business. He is equally lacking in feelings as a result of his materialistic life. So what we need to be looking at here, first of all, is which one of these is the most relevant. And I think really what we're talking about is perhaps greed and humanity in this case. These two are the most relevant to this particular assessment and evaluation of his character. So when we think about the argument that this text seems to be putting forward here, we have to try and combine these two elements of his character to make sense of this. So if we've got a person who's lacking in emotional intelligence, but is at the same time successful in the world of business, the story seems to be making a point about the world of business. And it seems to be warning us that material success is not a guarantee of being a successful human being in broad terms. So we've got a warning here about the state of humanity and its relationship to greed. Now, you're trying to combine this, when you write about a writer's argument, into a statement that is suggestive and uses the conditional tense when it evaluates a writer's argument about a theme. So you're making a suggestion, because we don't know for sure. We don't have any definite answers to this. We are using our deductive abilities to work out what we think William DeMille is arguing about the nature of greed and humanity. So if we focus on greed and try and work out his argument from this statement, we might end up with something that looks a little bit like this. We want to start with a statement that is conditional. You say, on the basis, or as a result of, on the basis of Webb's combination of character traits, his combination of both success in business and a lack of emotional wisdom or emotional intelligence. You're telling the reader here, first of all, in the first part of the sentence, what details from the text you're focusing on to make your conditional judgment about what you think the writer is arguing. So it's on the basis of his combination of success in business and his lack of emotional intelligence. And this is where you have to go to the second part, the writer. It may be that DeMille, the writer, is suggesting that if we're thinking here, we're trying to say something about greed. It's suggesting that greed may be useful in a capitalist society or a capitalist system, a capitalist society, but that it fails to serve individual relationships. So we've got, again, a two-component sentence, and it basically consists of the things in the text that you're using to make your judgment about the writer's argument, and then a conditional statement about what you think the writer is saying about one of these abstract concepts. So we start through that again. We've got, on the basis of Webb's combination of both success in business and his lack of emotional intelligence. Those are the two things, his success in business and his lack of emotional intelligence. There's our details from the text. It may be that DeMille is suggesting. Conditional statement. We are not saying DeMille definitely thinks that greed is only useful to capitalist societies. We're making a suggestion about what that might be. It may be that DeMille is suggesting that greed may be useful in a capitalist society, but that it fails to serve individual relationships. And so we've got here a very sort of nuanced, multi-sided evaluation of both a character, and then we've used that evaluation of a character to work out a writer's argument about theme. Now this is tricky work, but if you follow these steps, you will find that the statements that you can make about a text can become much more subtle and at least two-sided if you follow this process of thinking, first of all, of a claim about a character, a positive one, then following it up with the negative opposite, and then trying to combine them in a way that shows that you've understood both sides of their character. Now you're trying then to use that understanding of the character to work out what that character stands for in terms of the writer's argument about one of these concepts. If someone can be successful in business and is an unpleasant individual in relationships, that writer is using that character to make an argument about greed. So what I would like you to try and do now is to take one of the other combinations of claim and counterclaims and go through this process yourself.